Is going to start in the next less than a half.
So welcome back, everyone. They're actually waiting for him to come. That's him right there. So this is Michael Flynn actually being escorted inside, where he will appear. He's expected to plead guilty.
To the group of reporters who are assembled here, we expect that he'll be pleading guilty in the next few minutes here at the federal courthouse in Washington, John.
All right, Empress,
so thanks for all tuning in. I'm DPN, Darlene Pierce Noble with IPH Media TV, and we wanted to definitely bring this footage. We'll be sharing this throughout social media here on Facebook, but also we're going to add this to our YouTube channel, where we will be adding a breaking news segment. I will ad-lib doing a conversation of whenever, like, commentate over, share a little bit of what I feel and what I think in this segment.
The White House is not putting out an official statement just
since
yet.
The last
saying that
when I had a chance to make my coffee, and now I'm better now, honey. I'm ready.
But a few minutes ago, a source
we just put out 4 magazines yesterday and got more to come for this month. And everything's moving along. Thank God. Give God all the glory. Oh, she is so beautiful.
To the vice president. And so, of course, he would lie to the FBI. So the source saying that Michael Flynn's charge of lying to the FBI was expected in part because he had demonstrated a willingness to lie.
Check out my big mug of coffee.
To the vice president, something that the White House was confronted by and ended up firing him for. Again, this puts the White House in a tough position because for a long time they've been saying this investigation doesn't have anything to do with us because all of the charges.
No hair, or it's all nothing burgers. Yeah.
Flynn was the national security advisor at the time. He was behaving in an official capacity. These conversations happened during the transition, and he lied about it when he was in his official role. So the White House still waiting to hear what they're going to say about that and how exactly they're going to spin it. But this source close to the White House on the
So this is Friday, December the 1st.
Thought it was going to be coming.
Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. We'll be putting out some things coming soon about that also.
Expected to plead guilty within minutes inside that federal courthouse where he just entered. Want to bring back our chief legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin, once again. Jeffrey, Perez made a very interesting point, which is that James Comey had believed before that there was not enough information to charge Michael Flynn on the issue of lying to the FBI in those interviews. That was our reporting from before. Robert Mueller feels differently. How does that, again, color our knowledge or analysis about what's going on today? Again, maybe Mueller is choosing this because it's a convenient, for some.
Well, Robert Mueller is not the only one who thinks there's enough evidence to charge him. Michael Flynn and his lawyers also agree because he's pleading guilty in the next 5 minutes. So I don't think there's any doubt that Michael Flynn is guilty of lying to the FBI on January 25th. You know, I think it is difficult to speculate about sort of how many different crimes were taking place and you know, what exactly the thought process was. I mean, the reason people plead guilty, and this is part of what goes on in a courtroom when someone does plead guilty, is the judge says, is the reason you are pleading guilty that you are guilty. That is the part of every guilty plea in federal court, in state court, because it's very important for judges to establish for themselves that there is, in fact, a basis for the guilty plea, that it's not just some strategic move on the part of the defendant. So, you know, as for whether there are other crimes that he could have been charged with, I don't know. You know, the fact that James Comey in the beginning of 2017 didn't think there was enough evidence.
We knew he lied. They all been lying. Yep.
For the next 11 months, as you know, Mueller's team has done. Mueller was appointed in May. Right. Comey may have found this evidence. I mean, that's why investigators work, is that they try to find more evidence. And what you have in January is different from what you have in November. And so that's, you know, one thing we know for sure, or will know in the next, you know, few minutes, is that everybody agrees
that there was enough evidence not only to charge Michael Flynn, but to convict Michael Flynn of lying to the FBI.
You know, Jeffrey Toobin, stand by for just a minute now. Let me just read you some of the things that President Trump has written about the investigation over the last several months. September 22nd, 2017, the Russia hoax continues. May 8th, 2017, the Russia-Trump collusion story is a total hoax. March 27th, Trump-Russia story is a hoax, yet over the next few minutes, his former National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, will plead guilty to lying to the FBI about Russia. Paul Callan is with me right now. Paul, I want to know what's going on behind closed doors. Walk us through this process.
Well, you know, when you surrender a client for indictment, or in this case it's an information to be arraigned in front of a federal judge, usually there's a procedure that is going to be very uncomfortable for General Flynn. You have to go through fingerprinting, and because those records are usually presented to the federal judge at the time of the arraignment. Now, we don't know what's happened in the background, whether Justice has waived this, because if he's going in and we expect him to actually be appearing in front of a federal judge in a very, very short period of time, that means that this stuff has already been done, or there's been an agreement to do it in the future. In a normal case, a normal American citizen who gets picked up, they surrender him at 6 in the morning, because it's a long process. Fingerprinting, then it's got to be run through the system, and then you get produced in front of a federal judge. So it's interesting to see if he's getting any kind of special privileges in the way his arraignment is being handled.
As far as perp walks go, that was not the longest one I've seen. It was also much more rushed than I've seen. I don't know if that indicates that all of this came together very quickly or not. You know, Dana Bash joins us once again. You know, Dana, again, I am struck by Michael Flynn, the role he played during the campaign, the role he played during the transition. Remember when President-elect Trump wasn't getting security briefings, the same security briefings that other president-elects had in the past? The response was, oh, it's okay, Michael Flynn is the one doing it. He's in the room here. He was that important.
Exactly. Look, the last time the only time that we have seen a plea is Mr. Papadopoulos. And he was a fringe member of the campaign.
That's him and his son right there. I think he's really trying to cover and protect his son too.
But he wasn't somebody who was, you know, eating Big Macs on Trump's airplane with him every day. Michael Flynn was. I can't confirm about the Big Mac part, but they definitely were together a lot.
Tell us eating Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, I'm just kidding. It was Big Mac.
He was a constant presence. With
Get them all. That's right. And, I don't even know who said it, but you're right about that. Get them all.
About what the president knew. If the prosecution
our country has
opportunity to go down
faced
this path, there is
a terrible ordeal with the division of all that is going on, you all. It's time for everything to move the way how we wanted to move. But of course, you know, God got the last word and see what's going to happen next. We don't know. All is just something for us to learn from.
On Hillary Clinton. Just one example, and I'm sure there are many.
Can't take this for granted. Our lives for granted.
I can't think of. Look, I was talking to somebody who has been very involved in these kinds of deals as a prosecutor recently, who said you have to remember, if there is a deal, the first question that is asked.
Stephen Wasserman. Oh my gosh! Hey, Stephen.
The first nickel from your mother's purse. And that is an important thing to remember if this goes the way it appears to be going.
Please inbox me your number when you get a chance.
All right, Dana, stick around for one moment. Joining us now, CNN legal analyst, former special assistant to Robert Mueller in a different role, Michael Zeldin joins us now. Michael, you're the one here who has worked with the special counsel before. Tell us what you see in these developments this morning.
So I mostly agree with everything that has been said before I got on air. I'd like to add two things which are of interest to me, which is which lies did Mueller choose? And those are one with respect to sanctions and one with respect to the United Nations resolution with respect to Israel. Those two lies implicate a lot of other people in the Mueller investigation. As to sanctions, they relate to Sessions. They relate to Kushner. They relate to Don Jr. As to the UN resolution, again, from public reporting, this relates to Kushner. So he's picked lies that implicate other people's, sort of standing within the course of this investigation. He did not pick something that's just related to Flynn, which might be the SF-86 financial disclosure form. He picked something that has, tentacles into a lot of other people in this investigation. And I think that is important in terms of what is Mueller thinking, and who else was interviewed by the FBI a few days after the inauguration relating to conversations that took place during the transition. So these conversations as to which Flynn lied took place in the transition period, and then he lied about him after he came into office. This is exactly what is at the heart of the Don Jr. meeting on June the 9th, the UN security resolutions, conversations between Kushner and Egyptians has been reported. So this is important in terms of that, more than anything else in my estimation.
So they had 8 years to plan all this out, you all, way before then, probably. His ultimate goal, Trump, was to put everybody in place to benefit where, they all in cahoots. So imagine con men, how they work. They work all together. They all team up together. They all will go down together. But one will probably get out of everything because a lot of times it's the biggest fish. And sometimes they go after and get that person. So I'm not God. I can't predict the future. I feel within my being that Trump is not going to last a whole 4 years. But I could be wrong.